Today, we're diving into a really fascinating business story, the anatomy of Inox Wind's incredible turnaround. I mean, this is a classic case study of a company pulling itself back from the very brink of failure to become a major player in one of India's hottest sectors. It's a story about strategy, timing, and how a company can literally rise from the ashes. So let's break down how they did it.
So, just a couple of years ago, the picture for Inox Wind was, well, it was grim. We're talking near insolvency, crippling debt, and returns that were deep in the red. But fast forward to today, it's a completely different universe. The company is net cash positive, it's sitting on a record-breaking 3.2 gigawatt order book, and it's posting the best financial results in its history. This swing is so dramatic, it's almost hard to believe.
So that brings us to the million-dollar question, right? How on earth did a company that was basically on life support engineer such a dramatic revival? Well, I'll tell you, it wasn't just a stroke of luck. It was a perfect storm of massive market tailwinds and a really, really smart internal playbook.
To really get this comeback story, you got to understand the bigger picture. The company's internal fixes happened right as this massive opportunity was opening up. You could almost call it India's Great Windrush.
Okay, so let's set the stage. As of right now, India has about 54 gigawatts of installed wind capacity. And that's a lot, enough to power millions and millions of homes. But here's the thing, that number isn't the important part. It's just the starting line. Where we're going is the real story. And boom, here it is, the game changer. By 2030, India's government has a minimum target of 107 gigawatts. Let that sink in. The entire industry has to pretty much double in size in just a handful of years. This isn't some analyst forecast. This demand is practically guaranteed by national policy.
And what this chart shows is the incredible acceleration required. We're not just adding capacity, the pace of those additions has to ramp up big time. We're going from adding about 6 or 7 gigawatts a year right now to needing to add 10, maybe even 15 gigawatts a year by 2030. This created a massive wave of demand, and Inox Wind, having just fixed the holes in their ship, was in the perfect position to ride it. So with that huge market opportunity as the backdrop, let's zoom in on the company itself. How did management actually get their house in order to catch this wave? Let's get into their 3-step rescue playbook.
The very first move, before anything else, was a lifeline. The company's promoter group, the Jain family, stepped in and injected over 2,000 crore rupees. Now, this wasn't just a loan. It was a massive vote of confidence, a signal to the market that they were all in. It stopped the bleeding and bought them the precious time they needed to execute a real plan.
And that plan was brilliantly simple and effective. It was 3 deliberate steps. Step 1, stabilize. Clean up the messy balance sheet, stop the financial bleeding. Step 2, control. Take charge of their own destiny by vertically integrating their manufacturing. And step 3, create recurring revenue. Build a steady, predictable income stream through an operations and maintenance business. Stabilize, control, recur. That was the playbook.
Let's just double-click on that supply chain point for a second, because this is so key. By making all the critical complex components themselves, the blades, the towers, the nacelles, they basically insulated themselves from market chaos and shortages. And they're not stopping there. Now they're even getting into making their own cranes and transformers. In a booming market where everyone's scrambling for parts, controlling your own supply is a massive competitive advantage.
All right, the strategy sounds great on paper, but did it actually work? Well, let's get to the best part, the results. This is where we see the rubber hit the road, and the shift from burning cash to making record profits is just wow.
I mean, just look at these numbers. In just 2 years, revenue didn't just grow, it exploded. From around 900 crore to over 3,700 crore. They went from a negative EBITDA and losing a lot of money to posting over 600 crore in EBITDA and a profit after tax of 535 crore. That is an absolutely astonishing reversal of fortune.
And on top of the money they're making right now, this number shows you what the future looks like. Their order book is over 3,200 megawatts. That gives them incredible visibility into future revenues for years to come, and it's still growing fast. This is basically a billboard showing the market's confidence in them. And this right here, this brings us full circle. From the absolute brink of insolvency, Inox Wind is now net cash positive. They have more cash in the bank than they have debt. It is the ultimate proof point that the turnaround wasn't just a partial success, it was a home run.
Okay, so the rescue mission is complete. The crisis is over. But now, a completely new challenge begins. Can they scale up fast enough to meet that massive 2030 national goal we talked about earlier?
And they are definitely putting their money where their mouth is. They're not just fixing things anymore, they are reloading for massive growth. We're talking 400 crore for manufacturing upgrades, another 400 crore for a brand new factory, and a huge 1,250 crore rights issue to fund a massive ramp-up. They are building for the boom.
But look, growing this fast is never easy. And one key thing to watch is this metric: working capital days. In simple terms, it's how long the company's cash is tied up in a project before they get paid. Right now, it's about 200 days. Their goal is to get that down to 150. Making their operations more cash efficient is the next big hurdle for them to clear.
Which leaves us with this final, crucial question. The turnaround is done. The rescue was an incredible success. But the next chapter is all about execution. Can they now build, deliver, and install at the incredible speed and scale that India's energy transition demands? That is the billion-dollar question. And it's going to be fascinating to watch.